All you need is a piece of paper in front of you to answer a couple of questions. This is part of Barbara's study. She asked me to help her with.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, I think this one meant to answer your questions actually. I think those are questions that you should choose. But I'm interested. Yeah.
Now, take out a piece of paper and pencil and fill out this survey. Barbara's doing a special study and she asked me to help her, so it would be helpful to do it for a few minutes.
I really appreciate it, Dan.
Okay. Second question.
Which is a bit disingenuous.
You need not put your name on the sheet, but we're going to collect them. Okay?
Right?
Look, she's not going to tell you much about this study because if you're asking her, because we were sworn to secrecy. Right, Barbara?
Right. where you have anyone and then D is other.
It's,
Dogs?
these categories were determined by Barbara, not by me, so.
Okay. I forgot I put that in.
What is the C state what?
It's skateboarders.
Oh, skate, oh.
Yeah, now, I have to tell you that Barbara asked me to tell you that cheating is allowed. So, sit next to someone who looks intelligent. Now, according to the research that Barbara's done, she persuaded me that every survey has to have at least 10 questions. And that's why there has to be another one. Finished?
Finish writing down the questions, yes.
Barbara, is that allowed in our survey?
Yes.
Okay. Barbara, we didn't discuss it, but if someone might use these on their website, should they not mention your name?
Oh, no, we should not.
I'm just, yeah, okay.
I think it would be better if they mentioned your name.
We cannot mention the sponsor of this study because it was kept confidential. Got them all?
Answers?
We have to collect this, you know, because it's a survey. Right, Barbara? We have to make a report?
That's not.
No. There's still, yeah, okay. This is taking longer than Barbara suspected.
I don't like number 9. History is, I want the history.
You only have to 3.
No, I don't like number 9.
You're up to 9, but not 10 yet.
Huh?
No, he doesn't like number
No, I
9.
stopped at 10. I stopped at 9 because I didn't like it. I could skip to 10, but then I'd be cheating because I didn't do the whole thing yet. That's an extra 10 right there.
Finish?
No, I had trouble when I got to 8.
You got trouble with number 8?
Uh-huh.
I can change it.
I thought that was easy. That didn't work out hard on it.
Actually, 7. 7 was my problem. But actually 6.
And then 6 equally. Oh, but not 5.
Well, that started it.
And look, this is just, you know,
I know.
this is normal reflections, you know. It's needed for the study we're doing.
I thought it was going to be a lot harder than it was.
Well, we have to,
It's
listen.
hard to write it down and think about it, and then just answer it. It's like,
Wait a minute, wait a minute.
not bad.
Are you, some of you are thinking you may have to take some time on this?
Yeah.
All right, how much time?
3 months.
3 months.
Yeah.
Do you realize that our whole study will be at risk if you guys don't hand in these papers? Well, it's going to be dangerous to go back to our sponsor and said, we chose the wrong sample. Right? The respondents refused to fill out the questionnaires. Our whole reputation will be at stake, right, Barbara?
Yeah,
Whew! They'll make fun of us
yeah.
as we pass them in the door, by the doorway, down the hallway. Right, Steve?
This is true.
How'd you do?
I ran out of paper after one.
Have you finished them all?
I said I ran out of paper after one.
Wait a minute. Which one stopped you? He's holding up a blank piece of paper. This is not fair.
Sarah suggests that I can't run out of room, although I was arguing that I can't run out of room in the sense of she's saying computer is limitless in practice. And I said, practically speaking, and nevertheless.
Okay.
What are we going to do?
I guess we need to give them time to do it.
You want to be very good, speak up.
You finished?
Oh,
All of them?
no, I'm not finished. I'm on number 8.
Number
Actually,
8.
7. How long would it take to answer number 7?
Philip, would you please help him? Encourage words of encouragement.
You can do it anywhere.
Oh, thank you.
We could always crib some notes from Homer, couldn't we?
I think so. What do you think?
I think so.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, I'd like to, when we have time, get into Homer. I just wondered what effect that lovemaking Homer described between Zeus and Hera, what effect it had on both of them and what followed. That's all. I've just got one or two questions. Yeah, in the book, yeah. Unless some of you are in the middle of writing these answers down, I don't want to interrupt that. Oh, by the way, what is it like answering them?
It takes time and thought.
It takes time.
Time to start.
Brian, what is it?
I wrote that it was like swimming in the ocean.
No, these are not hard. These are called soft questions. And as I say, Barbara designed the study, so if you have any difficulties, you know who to blame.
Oh,
And praise.
Oh, good,
Oh.
good. I was worried that part.
Okay.
Why don't we,
I appreciated the questions because it made me realize that the divine is much more common than I had thought before the question.
yeah, that's
let's do
Yeah,
that.
she was saying, Tom?
Yeah, I like that. Me too.
You too.
me too.
Yeah.
Me three.
Yeah.
No, you would be 3.
Yeah, me three.
Shows you how to count.
Yeah. I thought the questions would be a lot tougher to even get into than they were, and I didn't answer them sufficiently, but I felt like I could deal with each question as I went through it, and it would be worth going through and not terrifying like it seemed at first.
Just watch Steve's answer.
Well, I
Yeah, go ahead.
I have no answers whatsoever, but I have a suggestion. Why don't we move this enterprise, this project onto the internet with the questions there so that there can be some reflection ongoing, forthcoming?
Yeah, good question. Answer it, Barbara?
Well,
I can't see any reason why not.
Yeah,
So that-
that's it. Thank you.
so that somebody has to do the work, do we have to pay them to do that?
Dude, you could do it, bro.
Actually, you get Sean,
Sean?
right?
Would you have to pay Sean?
He's got that Noetic Society sign.
Now, before we jump into Homer, would you
Facebook.
like to know what your colleagues have said about these questions?
Yeah.
Then you have to turn them in. To Barbara.
Yeah.
And remember, it doesn't need your name. You can put someone else's name on it.
Oh, good.
Right?
Yeah.
We don't need to know that.
Right.
Have you ever gotten into what do they call it? Psychology? Not psychology, what do they call it again?
Side.
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 Yeah,
Okay.
you have to do it like that.
Yeah.
Can we call upon you to evaluate them psychologically? Because Brian has already volunteered to look at it theologically.
Really?
Yeah, he's into that theology stuff.
I'll give it a shot. It might get me to think about psychology.
Okay, all right,
I'll try. So,
okay.
okay,
Okay, to then shift to Homer?
okay.
What's my question?
What's the effect of,
See?
What effect did
Zeus and Hera got together, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Is there, what followed from that? Because certainly he was tricked, was he not? A lot of things followed. So how did we then respond to it? What followed from it? What followed from it? How do we account for what followed from it? Because it's the first time in Homer where he reveals the whole design of what's behind the whole war. Agree? At 50, chapter 15, what do you find? Does he then reveal to Hera the whole drama? Does he share with her the whole secret of the war? He hasn't told anyone else. He divulges the will of Zeus. Right? Yes or no? If the will of Zeus presupposes a plan to execute, does he reveal to Hera the modus operandi, the way of proceeding?
Yes.
What's the relationship between his willing to do that to someone who just tricked him, deluded him? How do you account for that? Should there be any connection between the two? Or do you go by my principle? It's a lovely story, but there doesn't have too much reason behind it. Help out, come on. First of all, does he divulge it to her?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, it's interesting that she got that out of math of the act. Usually, it's like a...
Let him shatter the Achaeans into retreat. Helpless, in panic, till they reach the ships of Peleus' son, Achilles.
Yeah.
Then the prince will send Patroclus, his great friend, to war, and Hector in glory before Ilion by a spear cast will bring Patroclus down. Though he destroy a host of men, my son Sarpedon being among them. Aye, for this the Prince Achilles in high rage will kill heroic Hector. From that moment, I'll turn the tide of battle on the beach decisively, once and for all, until the Achaeans capture Ilion, as Athena planned and willed it. But until that killing, I shall not remit my wrath. Hey, is he telling her the whole story? How come he's telling her? Shouldn't he be upset? I mean,
Well, he wasn't
see?
initially, but he should have given up now.
He gives her a little tongue lashing first.
sir?
He does give her a little bit of tongue lashing if he tells her off a little bit first, or threatens her.
Well,
Yeah, but,
he said, remember, I once threw you a great distance into the region,
right.
right? I could do it again.
Yeah,
Why didn't he?
yeah. No, that's the question. It's,
No, No, that's the answer I need. I need an answer.
And me too, I'm with you.
I suppose you want it in the text. I was joking. I said, I suppose you want it from the text.
Oh, yeah, I have that.
Golly.
Yeah.
Not necessarily. Someone opposite might be able to persuade them to accept that interpretation. Don't you think, Mark?
Nope.
If she gives them some information. Do they?
See, he even tells Hera about Thetis, doesn't he? Tells the whole thing. But until that killing, I shall not remit my wrath, nor shall I let another god take part on the Danaan side. No, not before the heart's desire of the son of Peleus shall have been consummated. So I promised, so with a nod I swore, that day when Thetis touched my knees and begged me to give honor to Achilles, raider of cities. Right? She said a whole thing. How come? It's not a very well thought out work. It's Greek, you know.
Well, so isn't it, Zeus says
Oh,
that-
just one second, okay?
Yeah.
Another one, okay? Right, like what can count as a reason? Yes, go ahead, please.
Well, Zeus says to her, if what you say is honest, then rejoin the god's company now. And what she had said was that Poseidon, his own heart impelled him to fight, and that she wasn't pushing him to fight, and if you command that he stop, then I'm going to go along with you. I'll counsel him to go where you command him.
Certainly, would you agree in that quote? From this point on, she's willing to follow Zeus. Is that the point you want to make?
Yeah, but also it's when Zeus says, "If what you say is honest, then rejoin the god's company now." That's a point in this that his state of mind is shifted from being angry. Actually, it already says, at this he smiled, the father of gods and men, when he saw that Hera would follow his command Like it seems like the struggle, Zeus is reconciled to see that it was Poseidon himself who attacked, not that it was Hera who tricked Zeus in order to get Poseidon to attack.
That's right. That's right.
Sorry, what did you say,
No.
Iliad?
He wanted, yes. That's quite correct. Is that the reason? Could we say that's the reason?
That Zeus.
See, you now have 2 points separate from the one you gave before. So I just want to remind you.
Yeah, I'd like to put it into one then. It's that Zeus, when Zeus recognizes that it's not Hera that pushed Poseidon to attack, but that it's Poseidon himself,
Right.
then and he sees that Hera will now obey him, then he's reconciled to her, and he asks her to rejoin the god's company.
See, it's also a question of a translation. You're using,
The same as yours.
right? Which is, but mine is better.
Mine is better. I have a heart.
So,
Mine,
wait, just make sure I got your reason. Are you saying that because she's willing to obey, he's willing to reveal his plan?
Well, what she revealed? She revealed that it was Poseidon.
let's try it. Let's get into the text.
Okay.
Do you agree? At this he smiled, the Father of gods and men, and lightly came his words upon the air. Hey, lightly now. Then in the time to come, in the time to come, my wide-eyed lady, supposing you should care to sit with me in harmony among all the immortal gods. Hey, you know what? For all Poseidon's will to the contrary, he'll come around. He'll come around to meet your wish and mine. What is he saying there?
It's an opportunity to unify.
Supposing you should care to sit with me in harmony, right? It's your move. Do you want to sit in harmony with me from this point on in the future? Is that right? That's what he wants, huh? You sit in harmony. As far as Poseidon, I'll fix him, he'll come along. If what you say is honest, then rejoin the God's company now, and then we'll do what we're going to do. Right? So, if you can sit in harmony with me, right, look what he's saying. And rejoin the God's company now. Right. Two things. Hey, there's a down kind of harmony with me now and in the future, and rejoin the gods that are all, with me. Then we're in. It's your move. And I'll tell you what with Poseidon. I'll tell him what to do. I'll tell you what I'm going to do with him. And so there's a threat. Poseidon is acting how? Come on.
Later he says, Poseidon says he sees himself as an equal.
That's right. He thinks he's equal. He sees him, he thinks he's equal. See, the question we want to know is there a war in the heavens, forces opposing one another? Is the goal of Homer to show that the war among men can be understood by the divine influence, but equally, can he bring order to the forces, the divine forces in the heavens? Well, here's an insurrection, Poseidon.
Yeah.
He said, hey, I'll fix it. I'll do it. Poseidon says, hey, what are you talking about when the universe was divided into three pieces, remember? Earth we share. What's he doing? Keeping me out of Earth? Weren't we supposed to share that? Zeus says, I got news for you. You better stay on the water. Don't put your head up again. What's he doing? Is he now, come on, bringing order in the heavens? By equal power. Equal power. Each one has a kingdom. Only what is Zeus saying? No, I am above all of you. Is that what he's doing? Well, we better find out.
Well, and he's saying that Poseidon's will is contrary to his.
Yeah.
Not just that it's different.
Go ahead.
That's all there is.
We want more.
Does he take care of Poseidon?
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
It's
but
interesting, Iris plays a role in that. Because he's gonna,
Mm. Mm.
now, see, we're in 15. Now, between 15 and 21, this issue is going to dominate until at the conclusion of 21, he establishes the hierarchy among the gods. Hey, it's going to take this much of a struggle to bring that about. Right? Well, we take a look and see how he does it. Now, there's one great line that Lombard's translation uses. He picks it up and then uses it in the beginning, which I enjoyed on Arch Book 15. When Zeus finished, Hera took pains to follow his command. What's she doing? Okay, therefore, she bought into it. There we got it. When he finished, Hera took pains to follow his command. From Ida's crests, she flashed to high Olympus, quick as a man's thought and a man's mind. How fast is that?
it's fast.
Instantaneous.
Lombard, in the beginning of the Homer, he says, when Zeus was pondering between the space of two thoughts.
He translated.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that,
Yeah.
and so I decided to take a look and see whether it was there. It ain't.
Oh.
It would have been great. Well, it would have been great. Would have went right along with this. Perfect. Not there. I shed a tear that night. Luckily, I was drinking some beer and it smoothed out my torment.
Good.
Okay, another thing now, okay? What I'd like to see in this chapter and the next three going is, would you agree we can start something new? We can say, See? Right, from now on, we want to pay special attention to what circumstances are going on that these people say, ah, and they name a god. Like, what effect, what is it they're looking at? And they say, well, okay, this is what's happening, this is what's happening. And equally, we want to look at the other question we had. What do you call a miracle in Homer? Fine. Right, we're still on that subject. Okay, next.
Here?
See, now we're also talking about the gods, all right? Among the gods, do some function on a higher, more reflective level than others? Again, when, under what circumstances?
Just a second ago, you asked a question, do I have it right? Your question was, what do we call a miracle in Homer? Was that it? What do we call a miracle in Homer? Was that the right question?
Yeah.
So my question for you is, when you ask that question, does the word miracle that you're using, is that the same thing as divine influence that you were asking in the survey?
Better be,
Okay.
but not all influences are miracles.
So a miracle is influence, but not all influences are miracles. Okay.
But all miracles are influences.
Why are not all influences miracles?
Well, it depends upon how you use the word miracle. Right? Or you can say there are two orders of miracles. Right? One is an inspiring force, and another where there's a specific activity that transforms something for some end. Those are different kinds of things. So often we think the latter is a case of miracle, not the former. Though you could use both, just simply say there's a difference.
Would something like the bowstring of two crows, is it the bowstring? You know how in the battle, the guy pulls out this incredible bow that he got as a gift, I think, from Phoebus Apollo, and he goes to shoot it, and the string breaks.
No.
And it had been a string that he had put on brand new that morning. So there was no physical reason. And when Hector saw that the bowstring had broken, he said, that's a sign that the gods are on our side, we need to push.
Yeah, see, that presupposes that they have the kinds of skills we often allow with samurai warriors. You know, like some of those guys are so incredible with their skill in archery, even on horses, that, you know, if they miss it, everyone would go,
Yeah.
how's that possible?
Mm-hmm.
So the level of combat is very high in this very samurai level.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. But that would be an occasion then when the person who's acting would then have to understand their error. And it's easier for them to believe there must be a
Divine force at work.
than it is for them to admit that they missed by their own.
Or that
yeah.
the string wasn't flawless or
Right.
something. They didn't examine it.
That's really part of David Hume's thesis, when he talks about miracles. When do you believe a miracle? When the evidence is such that it would be more miraculous that the evidence was false than you believe the miracle occurred. Right? That's just standard.
Well, the recovery of the recovery of Hector might be considered for most people.
Well, okay, look, let's try this.
A miracle.
All right, look, try this. Where would you go in chapter 15 for a good example?
Oh, that question. Iris.
Okay.
The recovery of Hector. Without him hearing his father's words, Apollo guided from the heights of Ida. Like the sweep of birds that peregrine, he found Prince Hector, Priam's son, no longer supine, but just now recovered, sitting up, able to see and know his friends' faces around him. His heart panting and sweating had been eased. The mind of Zeus, master of cloud, reanimated him. And standing there near the man, Apollo said, Hector, why do you sit here, weak and sick from the rest? What has come over you?
Oh, how about Athena with Ares? Because Ares was going to go and against Zeus's will and.
Against Poseidon.
Right.
Pardon?
Right. I thought he was going to
Pardon,
go.
are you talking about Iris?
There's Iris, but there's also Ares, and
Oh,
Athena
okay.
intervenes, and I was thinking, Iris also shows up. Oh, maybe perhaps higher in some.
Okay, try it, okay? Go to about 200 in chapter 15. Take a look at Poseidon's response on page, my book,
That's cool.
355.
I thought he was going to go further.
Poseidon is saying, Indeed, it fell to me to abide forever in the gray sea water. Hades received the dark mist at the world's end, and Zeus the open heaven and air and cloud. But earth is common to all. So is Olympus. No one should think that I shall live one instant as he thinks best. No, let him hold his peace and power in this heaven, in his portion. Not try intimidating me. Me, I won't have it. As though I were a coward. Better to roar and thunder at his own sons and daughters. He himself is fathered. They're the ones who have to listen to him. Wind-swift Eros answered, Hey, Poseidon, shall I put it that way? God of the great blue tresses, bearing this hostile message back to Zeus? Or will you make some change? You know, all princely hearts are capable of changing. And you know, the Furies take the part of elder brothers. Poseidon paused and reflected, taking a poke at his pipe. Excellent, Iris, very well said. That's a point well taken. You know, it's a fine thing when a messenger knows what's fitting. But you know what, it still irks me. So how is Iris functioning?
She's asking him to reflect on what he's
Right,
saying,
reflective,
you know, yep.
helping him. Right. So some of the gods are functioning on a very interesting reflective level, aren't they?
Mhm.
Right. Trying to bring about a certain kind of rationality into the scene.
Yes, reasoning with him,
Yeah.
calming him.
Okay. How about Apollo at 250? The whole role of Apollo.
But I think justice is. Very like it. The son of Martha, that one, very like it.
Now, what would you call this? Okay? In terms of what we've been talking about.
Just hold on.
Right? Hector has been knocked down. Right? Everybody thinks he's dead. Apollo revives him. Right. Apollo,
Messenger has an understanding.
Lord of Archery, replied,
But that actually, that's
"Hey, be of good heart. The God you see from Ida, the Lord Zeus sent to fight with you in battle. I'm Apollo of the golden sword. I rescued you before, you and your city. Up then, tell your host of charioteers to charge the deep sea ships. I'll go first and cut a passage clean for chariot horses. It'll put the Achaean soldiery to rout." This inspired a surge of fighting spirit in the commander's heart. And then he gives that beautiful analogy that goes on, right? Okay, again on about 300. All in a mass of jutting spears, the Trojans came as Hector strode in command. Apollo, leading him, was cloaked in a white cloud and held the shield of ominous storm cloud with its trailing fringe. You know, the smith Hephaestus gave this shield to Zeus to carry and strike fear in men. Apollo handled it now as he led on the Trojans. All in a mass the Achaean captains stood, and a sharp cry rose from both sides. Then arrows bounded to and fro, striking one another down, and blood spilled upon the floor, crafting it with deep redness throughout the land. Right? Many a man couldn't stand the sight, so he called upon,
And you know that shield is actually the aegis.
Yeah,
It's actually Zeus's aegis.
it says that.
Yes, thank you. Therefore,
Well, that's a very powerful sign of Zeus's standing, isn't it? And wisdom, I mean, sometimes Athena wears that aegis, right?
so from that, you would say, what kind of influence is he creating?
Wow, that's so interesting. I don't know, but that's a very fascinating thing to, I mean, it's almost like the horrifying, how they describe the terrible beauty of wisdom in if it could be seen. It seems like it's a state of mind that is awe-inspiring but terrifying. Terrifying? But I don't know. What would you say, Pierre?
No, I like what you said. I don't have to say anything.
I don't want to. Hook.
Yeah, let's go with the Aegis Cape, you know.
Remember, we've been looking also,
The awe and it wouldn't be as powerful. It wouldn't be as terrifying to the kings. I think. But it's not didn't like that answer either.
would you agree, people today, there are a bunch of them, and you can say, in today's world, there's some people who do this.
Yes.
Plenty of places. But what we want to know is, can you compare this kind of prayer, right, in the modern world, with what's going on among the Hellenics or the Greeks?
Right.
Like Esther.
And,
Okay? And that means, hey, when? When? How? What kind of an appeal? For what? Do you know anyone in that camp?
Yeah, I know this one girl. She's always wanted to get a job, and she always asks people to pray for her to get a job. It's a modern world.
Is there or is there not, on that theme, is there not a group of churches that have been designed under the principle that you will get wealthy if you join us and pray for it?
yeah.
Possible?
This is not your Wengate kill guys.
No. You can even say there's some curious role, I'm not sure about it, I need your help. Like, as I mentioned to some of you, if you want to make a buck, save all the German coins you can find that were printed during World War II. Because one side is a Nazi symbol and the other is a Catholic Church. And would that mean in some way the Catholic Church was praying? Or getting people? By the way, they had on their belts, God with us, you know, alongside of a death skull. But rather curious people. Have you ever met one?
Catholic or a German?
Both. In any case, enough fun.
Scary.
Try this. Nestor sees this going on, right? Savage, white, battle going on. His forces at the edge of a total defeat. He stretched his hands out to the sky of stars, prayed, Father Zeus, if someone long ago in Argos of the grain fields offered up fat haunches of a cow or sheep in fire and begged you for a safe return from Troy, winning your promise and your nod. Remember now, Olympian, defend us against this pitiless day. Do not let the Achaeans to be crushed this way by Trojans. That's a prayer.
Where was that?
Huh?
430,
Thank you.
Oh, it's on page blah.
361.
370.
361, about 371. What does he want?
He wants Zeus to keep his promise.
He actually, and I like it, it's kind of like, do not allow the Achaeans to be crushed. It's not like, let us win.
No.
Oh, I was just thinking, it's kind of odd, like, we might say, let us win, and Nestor says, do not allow us to be crushed. Right?
Crush this way.
Crushed this way, yes, by Trojans.
Yeah.
They might be better.
Likely to be the same or different? We could just change the name and the age. Could the English have been offering such a prayer at Dunkirk when they had to then flee France and find their way back to England? They said, no, different. No, yes. We need your help. So, don't you agree, people with hats have warm heads? And we can call upon them. You and I, we're cold, right? But they've been thinking. And we got 3 of them.
Yeah, I think a similar prayer could be made by the English at Dunkirk, but it would be different. It's monotheistic. I'm guessing that's a scene of a battle.
Outcome. Zeus's response.
Can you tell me how Zeus and Hera look upon man? Got a couple of good quotes? remember the episode with Sarpedon, Zeus and Hera, right, are looking down. The question is, what's going to happen to his son Sarpedon? Right there it is. Patroclus is after him. Right. I'm in book 16, and that whole section, 400 to 450 or 480. Well, whole beautiful section. Right. Sarpedon. Right, here it is. He calls him the dearest man to me. And Patroclus is on him. And now they reflect. What's going to happen? Is he going to allow Sarpedon to perish, die? In that dialogue, they then reveal what they think of now. And so we continue the dialogue between Zeus and Hera. Right, there they are, pondering the fate. He's not dead yet, they're watching him. They can do something. Zeus has kept the other gods at this point from interfering right here. Is he going to save the man who's most dearest to him? Like two great birds of prey, with hooked talons and angled beaks, who screech and clash on a high ridge of rock, these two rushed one another with hoarse cries, but Zeus, the son of crooked minded Cronos, watched, pitied them, and he said to Hera, "I sorrow for me that in the scheme of things, the dearest of men to me must lie in dust before the son of Meniotis, Proclus. My heart goes two ways as I ponder this. Shall I catch up Sarpedon out of the mortal fight with all its woe and put him down alive in Lycia, in that rich land? Or shall I make him fall beneath Patroclus's hard-thrown spear?" Hera, O fearsome power, my lord Zeus, what a curious thing to say. A man who's born to die, long destined for it. Would you set free from that unspeakable end? Go ahead, do so. But not all of us will praise you. And this too I'll tell you. Ponder this. Should you dispatch Sarpedon home alive, Anticipate some other god's desire to pluck a man he loves out of battle. I'll tell you what, many who fought around the town of Priam sprang from immortals. You'll infuriate these. No. Dear to you though he is, and though you mourn him, let him fall. Even so in the rough battle, killed by the son of Meniotius Proclus. To this, the Father of gods and men agreed. It showered bloody drops upon the earth, where the dear son Patroclus would destroy infertility on far from his home. Right? What's their view of mankind? You're going to save them from death? That's their fate. What are you doing that for? And if you do it, hey, a lot of these guys around here are sons and daughters of the immortals. They'll all do the same. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, you're right. Hey, is he listening to her? He's listening. Hey, he's listening to her. They have a harmony between them. They can now relate. She's helping him with his own design. Curious? She changed. He changed. And therefore, wouldn't you agree, we're in a great place then to charge ahead next time, right? 17, 18, 19? What do you think? And thanks for joining that survey. And I should have added the last 11, that if you have any objections to the survey, write a note to Barbara.
That's not a question, it's okay.